Hi YouTube and welcome back to my Let's Play World of Warcraft on Wednesdays. So we are now leaving the Forge of Souls here and going through the portal towards the Pit of Saron. So this is going from the first to the second dungeon or instance within the Frozen Halls. This is the final three 5-man dungeons within Wrath of the Lich King. So this is the second one. Next week is the final one, the Halls of Reflection, after which I will be switching over to attempting to complete various Wrath of the Lich King raids. And then moving on to the Cataclysm dungeons. So we're getting close to wrapping things up here with Wrath of the Lich King. So first off, we've entered in here and we've got this guy on the bony dragon up there kind of throwing threats at us and stuff. And you can see there's some interaction here with him and Lady Sylvanas, who is basically guiding us through these three dungeons and providing some backup support, but then, you know, we're having to do as much of it as, you know, on our own as we can. So right now we're taking up these guys, and the big skeleton guy just went ahead and killed a bunch of our horde people and turned them into undead, which are now attacking our remaining forces. But Lady Sylvanas just took them out. Apparently they were very squishy skeletons. So now we're just kind of like, you can read the text over in the bottom left there in terms of the interaction between Lady Sylvanas and whatever his name is. And now that sequence is over with, we now have the freedom to complete the rest of this. And one of the things my guild has always did was to try and skip this one guy over here, and we can just go kind of straight over here, and we need to try and basically free the slaves, number one, and number two, you know, obviously take out these Wrathbone laborers, mainly just because we're going to aggro them anyway, so we might as well take them out. And this instance is definitely a bit longer than the one we just did last week, which was, this is the Pit of Saron, and that was the Forge of Souls. Forge of Souls only had 2 bosses and was quite quick to kind of go through. But this one, we've got several bosses to deal with. There's 1, 2, yeah, there's 3 or 4 bosses, I think, and then on top of that, there's a number of timed sequences that we have to kind of deal with. We can't just run through at our leisure. There's a kind of sequence and things that have to happen, and in a certain order and things. So that being said, just kind of going through and I have to just click on the kind of the ball and chains that they're tied up to free them. And then we've got these guys with their dragon mounts also getting in the way, so might as well take them out as well. There's a whole bunch of slaves way back in the back there, and my guild, whenever we ran this, we never went back and tried to free all of those. We just kind of freed them along this one kind of path here. So here, I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting to pick up there. I have another dragon guy here, and then we have a bunch more slaves to free, and then up the stairs, up ahead, is the first boss that we have to take out. He was always a bit tricky, especially if I brought my healer instead of my Death Knight. He would kill me pretty quickly. I wasn't able to keep up with healing myself in the tank at the same time, so that's one of the reasons why I was starting to switch. I would play the healer once in a while by request of my guild, but I kind of, to be perfectly honest, I think I sucked at it. I did start getting somewhat better at it, but I was never really a top-notch healer. And to be perfectly honest, I've never been a top-notch anything. I'm almost always the lowest DPS in any group thing. even though I've worked on getting that better and everything. And I used to research, you know, the right spells, the right, what are they called? Glyphs, the right weapons, the right gear, blah, blah, blah. You know, all of that kind of stuff to get the max DPS from everything once I switched over to doing melee DPS. And I did the same thing for my healer, you know, making sure I had the right gear and the right weapons and the right, you know, this and that and the other, in order to get the max healing that I could. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I just never, you know, I mean, I do adequate. You know, my guild obviously kept inviting me back to things, so, I mean, not that I ever did raids, but I didn't want to do the raids anyway. Oh, yes, and here I got a new achievement. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But be that as it may, you know, I think it's one of the reasons why I prefer running solo through World of Warcraft, because it seems like a lot of work to be like a top tier player in the game. And I just want to have fun, to be perfectly honest with you. I really, the main thing I'm doing here is just, I'm playing a game and having fun. And so I've just kind of stopped trying to care so much about all that kind of crap and just, you know, like, screw that. I'm gonna do my best, and I'm just gonna have fun with it. And if you don't like it, then go to heck and hell and stuff, basically. All right, so we got the first boss there, and yep, there we go. Here's our first, our ambush here. We can take out these guys. I'm not quite sure why these guys are called Geists. Geist in German means ghost, but they don't look very ghosty. They look scary, but not very ghosty. At least not what I would imagine a ghost looks like. Alright. And now, one of the things that we always do is made sure that we cleared out all of these Plagueborn horrors before taking on the next boss. Not that I necessarily have to for myself. I think I'm fine without taking out these guys at my level. But if you didn't take them out and they kind of got in the way of the fight, you know, you could quickly get hosed and wipe. Because the last thing you need is these guys throwing plague poison at you on top of everything that the boss would throw at you. I'm killing these bosses still way quicker than a standard at level 5-man would. And so we're not seeing all of the kind of spell cycles these guys go through, because I'm killing them faster than they can go through their cycle of spells and things, which is, you know, kind of cool. But here I'm just kind of like, you know, demonstrating that, you know, it's not good to have these guys around while taking out Ick and Crick. And it's called Ick and Crick because Ick is the big guy, but then there's a little guy. You'll see he's like a little gnome sitting on the back of him with a kind of a pink mohawk, and his name is Crick, and he's directing Ick's movements and everything. And you'll kind of, in the background, hear his annoying little voice a little bit. He reminds me a little bit of the actor who plays the Grand Nagus. Grand Nagus Zek in Star Trek DS9, the Ferengi and stuff. This guy has a very similarly, annoyingly grating, high-pitched voice. Alright, so now Crick is begging for his life from Lady Sylvanas. And Lady Sylvanas is, you know, like, you know, wanting to kill him, not wanting to spare his life. And then he's sharing some information about Frostmourne, saying that Frostmourne is in the Halls of Reflection. And she's like, wait, what? Frostmourne is always with the Lich King. Why is it unguarded? If you're lying to me, I'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. And of course Crick is trying very hard not to, you know, to get killed. But then guy on Bunny Dragon shows up again and doesn't really give us much of a choice. Boom, he kills him. Bye-bye. Now, here at this point, my guild and I, when we used to run this at level, we used to immediately, as soon as that event happened, zoom around the corner and up the ramp over on the side. We wouldn't wait for Lady Sylvanas to make her, because she kind of goes slowly here, so that we could avoid this next sequence of fights. If you got up to the top of the ramp ahead of time, you could avoid the fight entirely. And here, now they're coming down, so it's too late to avoid the fight at this point. But that was definitely one thing here that we would do. Because trying to get up the stairs between the Firebringers and the Flamebringers and all this stuff, we would wipe. I would say 1 out of 4 times it was a good chance we would wipe going up here, and it probably was mostly my fault. Although, you know, obviously they came up with that cheat even before I was joining in and stuff. Well, or afterwards or during, because I mean, different guild people would run at different times of the day and that kind of thing. So it wasn't just me. I was obviously the other squishy healers in our guild were having equal problems with this sequence and everything. But obviously at my level, I mean, you can see that they're definitely doing some damage to me, but not enough for me to be concerned about it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just kind of go through here and do the sequence the way it's meant to be done, and not the kind of shortcut / cheat of running past them, because then the sequence just kind of skips over. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if they might have even fixed that where the sequence happens no matter what, but back in the day you used to be able to run up here and then you just skip that entire sequence and you go straight on to this sequence instead. They might have fixed that, I don't know. And there's Mr. Guy on Bunny Dragon again, egging these soldiers on. Now this fight, this part of the fight was always fairly easy. We were able to tank and smack these guys pretty easily without any problems. It worked pretty well. So this was I think as I recall, was pretty much the easiest part of the instance. If we got past the last 3 challenges or whatever, like the shoe bosses, and then going up that ramp, once we got past that, then pretty much guaranteed that we weren't going to wipe anymore at this point. And we typically didn't wipe anymore, even with the final boss. Generally did not wipe on him, as I recall. Alright, so let's take out these guys still, and then we got one more little challenging thing to go through, but there's a fairly easy trick to get through it, and I'll explain that in a moment. So as you can see, it's a cave kind of system. And here I'm just making sure that I'm full health before I go in there. Not that I'm too worried about my health, but I just want to make sure I'm at full health here, and you'll see why in a moment. So, and put my Horde of Winter on. So once you start running through here, immediately there's kind of a ice avalanches, ice cave-in that starts to happen. You have to avoid these areas with the bright circles, because that's where the ice is coming down, and if you get hit, it'll do damage to you. But there's all these guys in the way, right? So the first thing you do is you kind of run through to the midpoint here. No ice falls on this circle. So you stand in the middle of this circle, and then you obviously you're kiting all of these guys. And so you then kill this set of guys here, heal up, and then you do the second half of the tunnel, and you kite the next group of them all the way to the end of the tunnel, outside where you don't get crushed with the ice and stuff, because the ice does quite a bit of damage. And if you're trying to deal with the ice and these guys at the same time, that's when you're more likely to wipe. So here I'm just kind of running through again, and just kind of avoiding all of the ice as much as possible while kiting this last group through. And there's the end of everything, so we just need to get past where all of the ice is falling. There we go. And now I can just take out this whole group that I just kited over here. And that takes care of that sequence. So that's the trick of this, is just, you know, run midway, fight, run the rest of the way, fight, and just kite people initially. Don't try to fight them in the tunnels, because otherwise you will die. And that gave me a nice little achievement as well. Don't look up. Basically, you know, I didn't take any damage at all from the falling ice. So now I think I need to need to get my health back up again. And here we've got some horde folks to support me, but we still have to take on the boss basically. So I think we talk to him. Nope. Maybe we just go forward and deal with, yeah, I think we just have to attack him when we're ready. There we go. And that just kind of starts the sequence, and he's kind of blustering up there again, blah, 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 blah. And so, like I said, there's a number of time sequence here where you just kind of have to sit around and wait for it to finish. This is one of them where, you know, chit-chat, like, shut up and just attack me already. Alright, let's keep going. There we go, finally. Scourge Lord Tyrannus. He does talk a little too much in my opinion. Alright, so we're now taking him out. Rhymefang, his dragon, is sending attacks down as well. Those are meant to take out any ranged folks in your party, but they're pretty easy to avoid as well. All right, and I got stuck in an icy attack, but that's okay. Oh yes, and then he's like, you know, with it gets extra power and stuff, and then there's a whole sequence there that would have been interesting to see if we had if we had left, you know, if we hadn't killed him so quickly. Alright, so that's the final boss here, and then there's a small little chit-chatty sequence that happens again with the Horde guy and Lady Sylvanas. But while that's happening, I want to say thank you so much. If you're still watching my video, I do appreciate everyone who watches all the way through. Thank you. And if you are enjoying these at all, please give them a thumbs up. And if you don't, well, thumbs down. I don't care. And, you know, questions, comments below. Please share the video if you're enjoying them. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know, please, why not subscribe? Okay, there we go. Lady Sylvanas pulled us back behind her while Rhymefang went and killed everything outside. Alright, and so now she's leading us to where the next portal is, to the Halls of Reflection, which will be the final dungeon. And that one we will do next week. So we're just kind of waiting for her. There we go. You have to just wait for her to kind of get her butt moving. And then you'll see the portal, and then I will basically sign off at that point. So, yeah, thank you so much again for watching. I do appreciate it. And basically, until next week, we'll do the Halls of Reflection. Take care. Bye-bye.